He spent years pretending, until the night he finally said the words that changed everything. He spent months hiding behind a smile until the night he finally let me see who he really was. It was just another quiet morning in our shared apartment. The smell of burnt toast drifted from the kitchen, mixing with his favorite playlist humming softly from the speaker. Ethan, my supposedly straight roommate, was shirtless again, brushing his hair in front of the mirror like he had no idea how distracting he could be. I tried not to stare. I really did. But when you live with someone who makes your heart race just by existing, it's not that simple. "Morning," he said, flashing that lazy smile that always made my chest tighten. "Hey," I mumbled, pretending to scroll through my phone. We'd been roommates almost a year. He dated girls, brought them over sometimes. And yet, the way his eyes lingered on me when he thought I wasn't paying attention told a different story. There were moments that never made sense. The way he sat too close on the couch, the way his fingers brushed mine when passing the remote, the way he once said, "It's weird how comfortable I am with you. I don't get that with anyone else." I laughed it off, but it stayed with me. That morning, as he walked past me, his shoulder brushed against mine. He paused a second too long. Our eyes met. Neither of us spoke, but something heavy filled the silence. Something real. Then he broke it with a half-smile. "Don't forget movie night tonight. Just us." I nodded, hiding my smile behind a sip of coffee. But deep down, I knew tonight wasn't going to be just another movie night. Something inside him felt like it was finally cracking. The act, the pretending, the walls he'd built to stay who he thought he had to be. I had no idea how much that night would change everything. By evening, the apartment felt different. Quiet, but charged with something unspoken. Ethan had dimmed the lights, pulled the curtains halfway, and tossed a blanket on the couch. "Just like old times," he said, smiling. "Yeah," I replied, trying to sound calm even though my pulse was racing. We sat close, too close for just friends. The movie played, but I couldn't focus. Every time he shifted, his arm brushed mine. Every time he laughed, my heart skipped. Halfway through, he reached for the popcorn and his fingers touched mine again. This time he didn't pull away. Neither did I. The silence grew heavier. The screen flickered in front of us, but all I could hear was our breathing. "Can I ask you something?" he whispered. "Sure," I said. He hesitated, then looked straight at me. "Do you ever feel like people expect you to be someone you're not?" The question hit deeper than he probably realized. "Yeah," I whispered. "All the time." He nodded slowly. "Me too." The room felt smaller, warmer. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "I don't know what's going on with me, man. I mean, I like girls. I do. But..." He stopped mid-sentence, shaking his head like he regretted saying anything. "But what?" I asked gently. His eyes met mine again, softer now, vulnerable. "Forget it," he said, forcing a smile. "It's nothing." But it wasn't nothing. It was everything. He looked at me again, longer this time, and for the first time there wasn't confusion in his eyes. There was fear and honesty. Neither of us spoke for the rest of the movie. But as the credits rolled, I knew something had shifted between us. Something that couldn't be undone. It was past midnight. The room was dim, lit only by the fading glow of the TV. Ethan didn't move. Neither did I. The silence between us felt louder than words. Finally, he spoke. "You ever think about how different life would be if you just stopped pretending?" My heart thudded in my chest. Pretending about what? He turned toward me, his eyes glossy in the low light. "Everything," he whispered. "Who you're drawn to, what you feel, what scares you." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. He looked fragile. Not the confident, easygoing guy I'd always known, but someone tired of fighting himself. "Ethan," I started, but he cut me off with a shaky laugh. "I've been lying to myself for so long," he said, "trying to prove something I don't even believe anymore." A lump formed in my throat. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone," I said softly. "Least of all to me." He stared at me for a long moment. Then, without speaking, he reached out and touched my hand. It was small, barely a brush of his fingers, but everything inside me stopped. "I'm tired," he whispered. "Tired of pretending I don't notice you, that I don't feel this." My chest tightened. I wanted to speak anything, but no words came out. He looked terrified, like he'd confessed something impossible. I squeezed his hand gently. "You're not alone," I said. He exhaled, trembling. "Then stay. Just for tonight. Don't go to your room." So I didn't. We sat there, two people who'd spent months circling a truth that finally refused to stay hidden. And as he rested his head on my shoulder, I realized something I'd been too scared to admit. He wasn't pretending anymore, and neither was I. I woke to the sound of rain tapping against the window. For a moment, I forgot where I was, until I felt the warmth beside me. Ethan. He was still asleep, his head close to my shoulder, one arm loosely resting across me. His breathing was soft and calm, like he'd finally found peace after months of running from himself. But as I lay there watching him, reality whispered the questions I didn't want to face. What happens now? Was last night a mistake? Would he start pretending again? When he finally stirred, he blinked at me, confusion flickering across his face before shifting into a shy smile. "Morning," he said quietly. "Morning," I replied, trying not to sound nervous. For a few seconds, it felt like everything might actually be okay. But somewhere between late-night coffee runs and sleepy goodbyes, I started feeling something I shouldn't have, something I could never say. It began small. A glance held too long, a touch that didn't feel accidental. Liam never seemed to notice. Or maybe he just pretended not to. One night, he came over after breaking up with his girlfriend. His eyes were tired, his voice low. "She said I'm too distant," he muttered, dropping onto the couch beside me. I laughed softly. "You are distant. Even with me sometimes." He looked at me, really looked. "You think so?" I nodded. "You build walls. You only show people the version of you that feels safe." He smirked. "And what version do you see?" The question caught me off guard. I wanted to say the one who makes my heart race. Instead, I whispered, "The real one. The one who's scared to be alone." He went quiet for a long moment. "You know me too well," he said softly. Our eyes met. For a second, the world disappeared. The clock ticking, the soft glow of the TV, even the rain outside. It was just us. Then he laughed nervously, breaking the tension. "Good thing we're just friends, huh?" I forced a smile. "Yeah, just friends." But when he leaned back, his hand brushed mine. Neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke. And in that silence, it didn't feel like friendship anymore. After that night, something changed. Not suddenly, but undeniably visible in the way he started looking at me. Before, he'd tease me, joke around, call me bro, like we were just two guys sharing secrets and bad humor. But lately, his eyes lingered longer. His laughter faded quicker. One morning, I caught him watching me make coffee, standing there quietly. "What?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He blinked, snapping out of it. "Nothing. You just look different today." "Different how?" I smiled. He shrugged. "I don't know. Just different." It was the kind of different you feel but can't explain, the kind that hides more than it says. We started hanging out more, staying up later. He'd find reasons not to leave. One more episode. Just 5 more minutes. It's too late to go home now. One night, while we were watching a movie, he suddenly asked, "Do you ever wish things were easier?" I frowned. "What do you mean?" He hesitated. "Like, people didn't expect you to be someone you're not." My chest tightened. "Yeah," I whispered. "I wish that all the time." He looked at me then, eyes soft, voice quiet. "You're lucky. You don't hide who you are." I smiled sadly. "You say that like it's easy." He didn't respond. He just stared at the screen, though he clearly wasn't watching. When the credits rolled, he didn't move. Then, almost too quietly to hear, he whispered, "Do you ever think maybe we're more than just friends?" My heart stopped. He said it like a confession, soft, scared, unfinished. I turned toward him, studying his face. "Do you want us to be?" He looked away, his jaw tightening. I don't know. But I saw it in his eyes, the truth he couldn't say. He did know. He just wasn't ready to admit it. As he leaned back against the couch, our shoulders touched again. Familiar yet heavier now. He didn't move away and neither did I. It had been a week since that night. Since he'd asked if we were more than friends. We never talked about it again. But the silence between us wasn't the same anymore. He started showing up more at my door, in my space, in my thoughts. Every small thing he did began to mean too much. The way his hand brushed mine when we walked side by side. The way his voice softened when he said my name. I wanted to ask him what he felt, but I was afraid, because if he denied it again, I wasn't sure my heart could handle it. One evening, he came over with takeout and 2 cans of soda. No girlfriends, no friends, just him and me. We sat on the floor, eating, laughing, pretending everything was normal. But halfway through a joke, his laughter faded. He just stared at me, like the joke didn't matter anymore. What? I asked, smiling nervously. He shook his head. You have this way of looking at me, he said softly. Like you already know what I'm trying to hide. My smile fell. Maybe I do. He looked down, picking at the tab on his drink. I keep telling myself it's nothing, that it's just comfort, just friendship. And is it? I asked quietly. He looked up, and there was something raw in his eyes. Fear, longing, truth. I don't know anymore, he whispered. The room went silent. My chest ached from how fast my heart was beating. He reached out slowly, carefully, and touched my hand. Every time I'm with you, he said, his voice trembling, I feel safe, and that scares me. I swallowed hard. Why? Because I've never felt that with anyone else. He let go before I could respond. Then he stood, his breathing uneven. I should go, he muttered. Liam, I started, but he cut me off. I just need time, he said. I don't want to hurt you, but I can't keep pretending either. The door closed behind him, leaving only the sound of my heartbeat echoing in the quiet. That night, I realized something painful yet beautiful. Sometimes love doesn't need words, it needs courage. And he wasn't ready to have it yet. 3 days. That's how long it had been since I'd last seen Liam. No calls, no messages, just silence. The kind that hurts more than any goodbye ever could. I told myself I'd stop waiting, stop hoping. But love isn't a switch. It lingers in your chest, in your memories, in the sound of their laughter still echoing inside your mind. It was raining again that night when I heard a knock on my door. For a moment, I thought I imagined it, until I heard his voice, quiet and shaking. It's me. When I opened the door, he stood there drenched in rain, eyes tired and red. I tried to stay away, he said, voice trembling. I really did. My heart twisted. Then why are you here? He stepped inside, dripping water onto the floor, his breath unsteady. Because everything feels wrong when you're not around. He laughed nervously, running a hand through his wet hair. I keep telling myself it's just friendship, that I don't feel this way. But every time I say it, it feels like I'm lying. I stared at him, trying not to break. Then stop lying, I whispered. He looked up at me, eyes filled with fear and longing. I don't know how. You already did, I said softly. For a moment, neither of us moved. The sound of the rain filled the room. Steady, soft, like the world was holding its breath with us. Then he stepped closer, slowly. His voice was barely a whisper. I'm scared of what this means. I know, I said. Me too. He took another step. But I'm more scared of losing you. And that's when everything shifted, or maybe finally fell into place. He reached out, his fingers brushing my face, trembling as he whispered, I don't want to pretend anymore. The tears that fell weren't just his, they were mine too. Because for the first time, he wasn't fighting what he felt. He was finally letting it in. We didn't need to say, I love you. It was already there, in the way he looked at me, in the way our hands fit perfectly between the silence and the storm. The rain had stopped by morning. Sunlight spilled softly across the room, touching everything that had stayed in the dark for too long. Liam was still asleep on the couch, wrapped in the blanket we'd shared the night before. His hand rested near mine. Not holding it, but close enough that I could feel the warmth. For a while, I just watched him. The rise and fall of his chest, the calm on his face. He looked free. When he opened his eyes, he smiled, the kind of smile that comes after a long battle with yourself. "Hey!" he whispered. "Hey!" I whispered back, trying to steady my voice. He sat up slowly, rubbing his neck. "I don't know what happens now," he said. "I don't have the answers. I just know I can't keep pretending that what I feel for you isn't real." I felt my throat tighten. "You don't have to have all the answers, Liam. You just have to stop running from the truth." He nodded, tears filling his eyes. "I'm tired of hiding, tired of hurting people, including you. I thought keeping distance would protect you, but it only broke both of us." I reached for his hand, this time not by accident, not with hesitation. "Then let's stop breaking," I said softly. He let out a shaky laugh through his tears, squeezing my hand. "You still want me after all this?" I smiled. I never stopped. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The quiet felt full instead of empty, like forgiveness, like peace. He leaned his forehead against mine and whispered, "I don't know where this goes, but I want to start here with you." And that's how it happened. Not with fireworks, not with grand gestures. Just two people choosing honesty at last, because love doesn't always ask for perfection. Sometimes it only asks for truth. And for the first time, Liam wasn't just my friend. He was the boy who finally stopped pretending and chose to love me as he truly was.